as we embark on this journey together, I ask you to open your minds and hearts to the truth that I am about to share. For in this truth lies the key to unlocking your full potential, the secret to overcoming any obstacle, and the power to create the life you've always dreamed of. Let us begin by understanding the nature of inner strength. What is it really? Many of you might think of it as a kind of mental or emotional toughness, a resilience in the face of adversity. And while these are certainly aspects of inner strength, I tell you that it goes far deeper than that. True inner strength, my dear friends, is nothing less than the recognition and embodiment of your divine nature. It is the unwavering knowledge that you are, in essence, one with the creative power of the universe. It is the ability to stand firm in this truth, regardless of external circumstances or appearances. You see, the world around you, with all its seeming solidity and permanence, is nothing more than a reflection of your own consciousness. Every person, every object, every circumstance that you encounter is but a mirror, showing you the contents of your own mind. And it is in this understanding that the seed of immense inner strength is planted. When you truly grasp this concept, when you internalize it and make it a living part of your being, you become unshakable. For how can external events disturb you when you know that you are their very creator? How can circumstances overwhelm you when you understand that they are simply manifestations of your own thoughts and beliefs? But I can hear the objections forming in your minds. But Neville, you might say, how can this be true? I certainly didn't choose the hardships in my life. I didn't create the challenges I face. And to this I say, yes, you did. Not consciously, perhaps, not with your surface level thinking, but with the deeper currents of your subconscious mind. For it is your beliefs, your assumptions about yourself and the world that shape your reality. This might seem like a heavy burden at first. If you are responsible for creating your reality, then doesn't that mean you're to blame for your problems? But I urge you to see it differently. This understanding is not a burden, but a liberation. For if you have the power to create your challenges, then you also have the power to create your triumph. And this, my friends, is where the building of immense inner strength begins. It starts with the recognition of your true nature as a divine creator, and it grows through the consistent application of this truth in your daily life. So how do we go about this? How do we cultivate this immense inner strength? The process is both simple and profound, requiring nothing more than your attention and your imagination. The first step is to become aware of your thoughts and beliefs. Pay attention to the running commentary in your mind. What are you telling yourself about your life, your capabilities, your worth? What assumptions are you making about the world and your place in it? As you become aware of these thoughts and beliefs, you'll likely notice that many of them are limiting, based on past experiences or societal conditioning. These are the very thoughts that are creating the reality you're experiencing. But here's thoughts and beliefs, no matter how long-standing or deeply ingrained, are not you. They are simply patterns in your mind, and like any pattern, they can be changed. This brings us to the second step in building immense inner strength: the deliberate choosing of new thoughts and beliefs. This is where your divine power of imagination comes into play. Imagine, if you will, the person you would be if you had immense inner strength. How would you think? How would you feel? How would you carry yourself? How would you respond to challenges? Create this image in your mind with as much detail as possible. See yourself moving through your day with unshakable confidence and serenity. Feel the sense of peace and power that emanates from your very being. Hear the calm, the short tone of your voice as you interact with others. Here's the crucial part. You must enter into this imaginal scene as if it were already your reality. Don't think of it as something you're working towards or hoping to achieve. Know with absolute certainty that this is who you are. As you practice this, you'll likely encounter resistance from your old patterns of thinking. Doubts may arise, old insecurities may surface. This is natural and to be expected. But remember, these thoughts have no power over you unless you give them power. When these doubts arise, simply observe them without judgment. Acknowledge them, then gently return your attention to your new self-concept. This is not a battle or a struggle. It's simply a choosing moment by moment of which thoughts you will entertain. As you persist in this practice, you'll find that it becomes easier and more natural. The new thoughts and beliefs begin to take root in your subconscious mind, and as they do, your outer world begins to reflect this inner change. You see, the subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. It accepts as true whatever you consistently feed it. And once it accepts a belief as true, it goes to work to make that belief manifest in your external reality. This is the true secret to building immense inner strength. It's not about forcing yourself to be strong or putting on a brave face in difficult times. It's about aligning yourself with the truth of your being, about living from the state of consciousness of the person you wish to be. As you do this, you'll find that your response to external events begins to change. Challenges that once would have overwhelmed you now become opportunities for growth. Setbacks that would have discouraged you now become stepping stones to greater achievement. This is because you're no longer deriving your sense of self from external circumstances. Your worth, your strength, your very identity is rooted in the unchanging truth of your divine nature. And from this place of inner stability, you become capable of navigating any storm that life may bring. But me be clear, this is not about becoming impervious to pain or difficulty. Life will still have its challenges. You will still experience a full range of human emotions. The difference is that these experiences no longer define you or control you. Instead, you develop the ability to observe your experiences from a place of detached awareness. You can feel fear without being controlled by it. You can experience disappointment without being crushed by it. You can face uncertainty without being paralyzed by it. This, my friends, is true inner strength. It's not the absence of difficulty, but the ability to stand firm in the midst of it, knowing that you are more than your circumstances, more than your emotions, more than any external event. As you cultivate this inner strength, you'll find that it affects every aspect of your life. Your relationships improve because you're no longer seeking validation or approval from others. Your work becomes more fulfilling because you're operating from a place of inner security rather than fear or ambition. Your health improves because you're no longer carrying the burden of stress and anxiety that comes from identifying with external circumstances. But perhaps most importantly, you develop a deep sense of peace and purpose. You begin to understand that you're not just a passive observer of life, but an active participant in its creation. You recognize that every moment is an opportunity to choose, to create, to express your divine nature. This understanding brings with it a profound sense of responsibility. For if you are indeed the creator of your reality, then you have the power and the duty to create a reality that reflects the highest and best within you. And this, my dear friends, is where the true work begins. For building immense inner strength is not an end in itself. It is a means to an end, a tool to be used in service of your highest purpose. What is that purpose? Only you can answer that question. But I can tell you this. It is something far greater than personal success or achievement. It is nothing less than the full expression of your divine nature, the complete embodiment of love, wisdom, and creativity that is your true self. As you align yourself with this purpose, as you begin to live from the state of consciousness of your highest self, you become a powerful force for good in the world. Your very presence becomes a blessing to those around you. Your words and actions carry a weight and authority that comes not from external power. But how do we maintain the state of inner strength in the face of life's constant challenges? How do we stay rooted in our divine nature when the world seems intent on pulling us back into old patterns of thinking and being? The key lies in consistent practice. Just as you wouldn't expect to build physical strength by going to the gym once and then forgetting about it, you can't expect to maintain immense inner strength without regular exercise of your spiritual muscle. This spiritual exercise takes many forms, but at its core, it's about consistently choosing to align with your highest self, regardless of external circumstances. It's about making a commitment moment by moment to live from the state of consciousness of the person you wish to be. One powerful practice is to start each day with a period of quiet contemplation. Before you engage with the outside world, take some time to center yourself in the truth of your being. I am one with the creative power of the universe. I am strong, capable, and worthy. I choose to live this day from a place of inner peace and power. As you go about your day, be mindful of your thoughts and reactions. When you notice yourself slipping into old patterns of fear, doubt, or limitation, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself of your true nature. Then make a conscious choice to respond from a place of inner strength rather than reacting from conditioned patterns. Another powerful tool is the practice of revision. At the end of each day, take some time to review the events of your day. If there were any situations where you felt you didn't respond from a place of inner strength, don't judge or criticize yourself. Instead, use your imagination to revise the scene. See yourself responding with confidence and grace. Feel the sense of inner strength and alignment that comes from this imagined response. This is not about denying what happened, but about training your subconscious mind to create new patterns of thought and behavior. Remember, your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. By consistently feeding it images of yourself, embodying immense inner strength, you're programming it to make this your new default state of being. As you continue with these practices, you'll find that your inner strength becomes more stable, more consistent. It becomes less of an effort and more of a natural state of being. You'll find yourself naturally responding to life's challenges with grace and equanimity. Not because you're forcing yourself to be strong, but because strength has become your essential nature. But let me be clear. This journey of building immense inner strength is not a destination to be reached, but a path to be walked. It's a continual process of growth, of expansion, of aligning more and more fully with your divine nature. There will be times when you falter, when old patterns reassert themselves, when you find yourself reacting from a place of fear or limitation. When this happens, don't berate yourself. Don't see it as a failure. Instead, see it as an opportunity for growth, a chance to choose again, to realign yourself with your highest. For in truth, every moment is a new beginning. Every breath is an opportunity to choose again. Your past does not define you. Your habits do not control you. You are in every moment free to choose who you will be. My friends, is the ultimate expression of your strength. The ability to choose moment by moment, to align with your highest self regardless of external circumstances or past patterns. As you embrace this truth, as you commit to this path of continual growth and alignment, you'll find that your inner strength becomes a beacon of light in the world. You become a living example of what's possible when we align ourselves with our divine nature. Your relationships become deeper and more meaningful because you're no longer seeking validation or approval from others. Instead, you're able to give freely of yourself, to love unconditionally, to support others in their own journey of growth and self-discovery. Your work becomes more impactful because you're no longer driven by fear or the need for external success. Instead, you're guided by a deep sense of purpose, by a desire to express your unique gifts and contribute to the greater good. Your health improves because you're no longer carrying the burden of stress and anxiety that comes from identifying with external circumstances. Instead, you're living from a place of inner peace and alignment, which naturally supports physical well-being. But perhaps most importantly, you develop a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. Not the fleeting happiness that comes from external achievements or possessions, but a profound sense of rightness, of being in harmony with the universe and with your true nature. This, my dear friends, is the true fruit of immense inner strength. It's not about becoming invincible or immune to life's challenges. It's about developing the capacity to meet whatever life brings with grace, wisdom, and love. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a final thought. The journey we've discussed today, the journey towards immense inner strength, is not always an easy one. There will be challenges along the way. There will be moments of doubt, times when the old patterns try to reassert themselves. But I want you to know this. You are stronger than you realize. You have within you all the resources you need to overcome any obstacle, to rise above any challenge. The power that created the universe resides within you, waiting to be acknowledged and expressed. So I urge you from this day forward to make a commitment to yourself, a commitment to honor your true nature, to cultivate your inner strength, to live from a place of alignment with your highest self. Start each day by affirming your divine nature and your innate strength. Look in the mirror and declare with conviction, I am one with the creative power of the universe. I am strong, capable, and worthy. I choose to live this day from a place of inner peace and power. As you go about your day, be mindful of your thoughts and actions. When you catch yourself slipping into old patterns of fear or limitation, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself of your commitment to inner strength. Then make a conscious choice to act from a place of alignment rather than react. Remember, this is a process. Be patient and gentle with yourself as you cultivate your inner strength. Celebrate your victories no matter how small they may seem. Each time you choose alignment over reaction, you're strengthening your inner resolve and moving closer to the full expression of your divine nature. And as you continue on this journey, know that you're not alone. There are others out there just like you who are awakening to their true power and cultivating their inner strength. Seek out these kindred spirits, support each other, inspire each other, and together create a community of individuals who are committed to living from a place of immense inner strength. Imagine the ripple effect this could have on the world. As more and more people awaken to their true nature and cultivate their inner strength, we could see a shift in collective consciousness, a world where people are no longer driven by fear and insecurity, but by love, wisdom, and a genuine desire to express their unique gifts. You have the power to be a part of this transformation. By choosing to cultivate your inner strength, by aligning yourself with your divine nature, you're not just changing your own life. You're contributing to the evolution of humanity as a whole. So I ask you, are you ready to embrace your true power? Are you ready to cultivate immense inner strength? Are you ready to step into the fullness of who you truly are? The choice is yours. The power is within you. And the time is now. As we conclude our time together, I want you to take a moment to visualize the life that awaits you as you continue to cultivate your inner strength. See yourself moving through the world with unshakable confidence, fully aligned with your divine nature. Feel the sense of peace, power, and purpose that comes from living from this place of inner strength. Hold on to this vision. Let it inspire you in moments of doubt. Let it guide you as you navigate the challenges that lie ahead. And most importantly, let it remind you of the incredible potential that resides within you. Remember, my dear friends, you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are one with it, an individualized expression of its infinite potential. By cultivating your inner strength, you're not becoming something you're not. You're simply allowing more of your true nature to shine through. So go forth with courage and conviction. Embrace your divine nature. Cultivate your inner strength. And know that as you do, you're not just transforming your own life. You're contributing to the transformation of the world. Thank you for your attention and your willingness to embark on this journey of self-discovery and inner growth. May you always remember your true nature as a divine being, and may you have the courage to live that truth every day of your life. And so, my friends, I leave you with this final thought. Your inner strength is not something to be acquired, but something to be uncovered. It is your natural state, your true essence. As you remove the layers of fear, doubt, and limitation, you allow this strength to shine forth, illuminating not just your own life, but thank you. And may your journey towards immense inner strength be filled with joy, growth, and endless possibilities. Let us begin by understanding the true nature of belief. Belief, my dear listeners, is not merely a fleeting thought or a hopeful wish. It is a state of consciousness, a living, breathing reality within you. When you truly believe, you are not simply entertaining a possibility. You are embodying a certainty, You are living from the end, experiencing in your imagination the fulfillment of your desire as an accomplished fact. Now you may ask, Neville, how can mere belief make everything possible? To answer this, we must first grasp the fundamental truth of our existence. Consciousness is the only reality. The world you perceive around you, with all its seeming solidity and permanence, is nothing more than an outpicturing of your own consciousness. It is a shadow, a reflection of the beliefs and assumptions you hold within. When you change your beliefs, when you alter the contents of your consciousness, the world has no choice but to conform to this new inner reality. It must, for there's no other power in the universe save that which beats within your own heart, that which resides in your own magnificent human imagination. Consider for a moment the things you currently believe to be true about yourself and your world. Perhaps you believe that success is hard to come by, that love is elusive, that abundance is for others but not for you. These beliefs, whether you're conscious of them or not, are shaping your experience at this very moment. They are the invisible architects of your life, constructing your reality brick by brick, experience by experience. But here's the wonderful truth, my friends. Just as you have accepted these limiting beliefs, you have the power to accept new, empowering ones. You have the God-given ability to choose your beliefs, to select the assumptions upon which you will build your life. And when you exercise this power, when you dare to believe in the fulfillment of your heart's desires, you set in motion forces beyond your wildest dreams. Let me share with you a principle that has the power to revolutionize your understanding of belief and manifestation. It is that the feeling is the secret. When you believe that something is possible, truly possible for you, you experience a distinct feeling. It is a feeling of naturalness, of rightness, of course this is mine. This feeling is not one of anxious hoping or desperate wishing. It is a calm. It is the feeling of one who knows that their good is already theirs, who understands that what they desire is already accomplished in the realm of infinite possibilities, waiting only for their acceptance to be made manifest in the world of form. To cultivate this feeling, to nurture this belief, you must make use of your imaginative faculty. For your imagination, my dear friends, is nothing less than God in action within you. It is the creative power of the universe, localized and individualized in you. When you use your imagination to create a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire, when you enter into that scene and experience it as real, you are exercising your divine prerogative as a co-creator with God. Let me give you an example to illustrate this principle. Suppose you desire financial abundance. The common approach would be to focus on the lack of money, to worry about bills, to stress about how to make ends meet. But this approach only perpetuates the experience of lack. Instead, I urge you to do this. Close your eyes and imagine a scene that implies your financial abundance is a present fact. Perhaps you see yourself confidently paying all your bills with ease. Perhaps you imagine a conversation with a friend where you casually mention your flourishing bank account. Or maybe you feel the joy and freedom of making a significant donation to a cause close to your heart. Whatever scene feels most natural to you, enter into it fully. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the sense of security that comes with financial abundance. As you imagine this scene, as you feel the reality of it, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. This seed, nurtured by your belief, watered by your feeling of naturalness, will grow into your physical reality. Remember, my friends, your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. To your subconscious, they are one and the same. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I've tried to believe before. I've tried to be positive, to think good thoughts, but nothing changed. To this I say, fleeting surface-level affirmations are not enough. What is required is a fundamental shift in your state of consciousness. You must become the person who already has what you desire. You must live from the end. This, my dear listeners, is the art of assumption. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, When you walk and talk and think from the standpoint of your desire accomplished, you're aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. You are stepping into the role of the person you wish to be. And in doing so, you compel the outer world to reflect this new inner reality. Let me share with you a story that illustrates the power of belief and assumption. I once knew a man who had been unemployed for months. He had applied for countless jobs, gone on numerous interviews, but to no avail. With each rejection, his belief in his own employability diminished, and his outer world faithfully reflected this belief. One day, after hearing me speak on these principles, he decided to apply them. Instead of continuing to search desperately for a job, he began to assume the feeling of being gainfully employed. Each night before sleep, he would imagine himself driving to work, sitting at his desk, interacting with colleagues. He felt the satisfaction of a job well done, the security of a regular paycheck. Within 2 weeks, he received a call from a company he had interviewed with months ago. They had an opening and thought of him immediately. He was offered the job on the spot at a salary higher than he had initially hoped for. This, my friends, is the power of belief in action. When he changed his assumption, when he dared to believe his employed state, the outer world rearranged itself to match his inner conviction. Now, I want to address a question that may be arising in some of your minds. You may be wondering, if everything is possible when I believe, does that mean I can believe in anything, no matter how fantastic or improbable? Yes, absolutely yes. For remember, the world you see around you is nothing more than an outpicturing of consciousness. The laws that seem to govern it, the limitations that appear to constrain it, exist only because you have given them power through your belief. In the realm of infinite possibilities, which is the true nature of reality, there are no limitations save those you accept in your own mind. The only boundaries are those you draw with your own beliefs. When you truly grasp this truth, when you internalize it and live from it, you will understand that nothing, absolutely nothing, is impossible to you. Consider the great innovators and visionaries throughout history. These were individuals who dared to believe in possibilities that others dismissed as fantasy. They held fast to their vision even in the face of ridicule and opposition. In doing so, they reshaped the world. They did not bow to the limitations of consensus reality. Instead, they used the power of their belief to bring into manifestation that which had previously been deemed impossible. You, my dear friends, have the same power within you. You have the ability to reshape your world, to bring into being experiences and achievements that others might label as impossible. But to do this, you must be willing to stand firm in your belief, even when the outer world seems to contradict it. You must be willing to walk by faith and not by sight, trusting in the invisible reality of your imagination more than the visible facts of your current circumstances. Let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this process. When you choose to believe in the possibility of your desire, when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are actually shifting your entire state of consciousness. You are moving from one state, the state of lack, or wanting, to another state, the state of fulfillment. This shift in consciousness is far more than a mental exercise. It is a repositioning of your entire being. It affects not only your thoughts, but your emotions, your energy, your very vibration. And as you maintain this new state, as you consistently occupy this new position in consciousness, your outer world must, by the immutable laws of creation, begin to reflect this shift. Think of it like this. Your consciousness is like a radio transmitter, constantly broadcasting a signal to the universe. This signal is composed of your beliefs, your assumptions, your dominant thoughts and feelings. The universe, like a cosmic radio receiver, picks up this signal and responds by orchestrating events, encounters, and circumstances that match your broadcast. When you change your beliefs, when you assume a new state, you are essentially changing the frequency of your broadcast. And just as surely as changing the station on a radio brings in a different program, changing your inner state brings about a different outer experience. Now, I want to address a common stumbling block that may encounter on this journey of conscious creation. Often, when people first hear these teachings, they become excited and immediately try to believe in the biggest, most audacious desires they can imagine. While I applaud this enthusiasm, I must caution, true belief is not something that can be forced or faked. You cannot trick your subconscious mind. You cannot fool the universe. If you try to believe in something that feels utterly foreign or impossible to you, you will only create inner conflict and frustration. Instead, I urge you to start with what I call the art of the possible. Begin by choosing beliefs that stretch you slightly beyond your current experience, but not so far that they feel completely unattainable. As you successfully manifest these smaller desires, as you prove to yourself the power of your belief, you will naturally expand your sense of what's possible. Your faith will grow. Your belief will strengthen. And you will find yourself capable of assuming states that once seemed out of reach. Remember, my friends, this is not a race. It is not a competition. It is a journey of self-discovery, a process of unveiling your own divine nature. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle, but also be persistent. For with each belief you successfully embody, with each desire you bring into manifestation, you are expanding your consciousness and increasing your power as a deliberate creator. Now, let us address another crucial aspect of this process, the role of action. Some misinterpret these teachings to mean that belief alone is sufficient, that one can simply sit back and wait for their desires to manifest. While it's true that the inner work of consciousness is the most important part of the creative process, it does not negate the need for inspired action. When you truly believe in the possibility of your desire, when you fully assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally inspired to take actions that align with this new state. These actions will not feel forced or stressful. They will not come from a place of lack or desperation. Instead, they will feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is because when you are living from the state of the wish fulfilled, you are allowing your expanded consciousness to guide your actions. You are tapping into a wisdom beyond your limited ego mind. The actions you take from this state will be far more effective, far more aligned with the realization of your desire than any amount of frantic doing from a state of lack or need. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Imagine you desire a romantic partnership. You could spend your time desperately searching for love, going on countless dates, trying to force a connection. Or you could assume the state of being in a loving relationship. You could feel the joy, the companionship, the deep connection in your imagination. From this state, your actions would be very different. You might find yourself naturally engaging in activities you enjoy, radiating a sense of fulfillment and self-love. You might find yourself more open, more approachable, more authentically yourself. And in this state, you are far more likely to attract the right person into your life, often in ways you could never have planned or anticipated. This, my dear friends, is the dance between inner states and outer actions. When your inner state is aligned with your desire, your outer actions become a joyful expression of that alignment, rather than a desperate attempt to fill a perceived lack. Now, I want to address a question that often arises when discussing the power of belief. What about other people? Can my belief change their behavior, override their free will? This is a profound question that touches on the very nature of our shared reality. Remember, my friends, that everyone in your world is you pushed out. They are reflections of your consciousness, playing roles that correspond to your beliefs and assumptions. This does not mean they are not real or that they don't have their own consciousness. Rather, it means that your experience of them, your interaction with them, is shaped by your own state of consciousness. When you change your beliefs about someone, when you assume a new state in relation to them, you are not manipulating them or overriding their free will. You're simply shifting to a parallel reality where they behave in accordance with your new assumption. In essence, you are choosing to experience a version of them that aligns with your new state. This understanding has profound implications for all your relationships. It means that if you want to experience a change in someone's behavior towards you, the most effective approach is not to try to change them directly, but to change your own assumptions about them. As you hold steadfastly to this new assumption, as you live from the state where they are as you desire them to be, you will find your experiences with them transforming, often in ways that seem miraculous. Let's take this principle even further. When you truly understand that everything is possible when you believe, you begin to take full responsibility for your entire life experience. You recognize that every circumstance, every encounter, every event in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. This realization is incredibly empowering, for it means that by changing your consciousness, you can change anything in your life. Are you experiencing financial lack? Look to your beliefs about money and abundance. You find yourself in unfulfilling relationships? Examine your assumptions about love and your own worthiness. Is your health less than optimal? Consider your belief about your body and its capacity for well-being. In every area of your life, you have the power to choose new beliefs, to assume new states of consciousness. And as you do so, as you consistently embody these new states, you will watch in awe as your outer world reshapes itself to match your inner convictions. Now, some of you may be thinking, this all sounds wonderful, Neville, but how do I maintain this belief? This new state of consciousness when my current reality seems to contradict it. This, my friends, is where the real work begins. This is where you must exercise your spiritual muscles, where you must demonstrate your faith in the unseen reality of your imagination over the apparent facts of your physical senses. Remember, your physical senses show you only the effects of past beliefs and assumptions. They show you where you have been in consciousness, not where you are going. If you wait for your outer world to change before you change your belief, you will wait forever. You must have the courage to believe in the reality of your imagined state, even when your senses deny it. This does not mean you ignore your current reality, or pretend it doesn't exist, rather. It means you give more importance, more attention, more emotional intensity to your desired state than to your current circumstances. You acknowledge your present situation, but you do not give it power over your imagination. One powerful technique for maintaining your desired state in the face of contradictory circumstances is what I call living in the end. This involves creating a short, symbolic scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire and returning to this scene repeatedly throughout your day. For instance, if you desire financial abundance, your scene might be looking at a bank statement showing a large balance, or shaking hands with someone who is congratulating you on your financial success. The specifics of the scene are not as important as the feeling it evokes. As you return to this scene again and again, as you step into it and feel it as real, you are reinforcing your new state of consciousness, strengthening your belief in the possibility of your desire. Another powerful tool for maintaining your belief is gratitude. When you cultivate a deep sense of gratitude for your desire as if it were already fulfilled, you align yourself with the frequency of having rather than wanting. Gratitude is the feeling of your wish fulfilled. It is the emotional state of one who knows their good is already theirs. Practice feeling grateful for your desire throughout your day. Give thanks for it as you wake in the morning and as you lay down to sleep at night. Let gratitude infuse your entire being. For when you are truly grateful, you cannot simultaneously feel lack or anxiety. Gratitude and faith go hand in hand, each reinforcing the other. Now, my dear friends, as we delve deeper into this exploration of the power of belief, I want to address a common misconception. Many people, when they first encounter these teachings, believe that they must maintain a constant state of positive thinking, that they must never allow a negative thought to enter their minds. This is not only impossible, but unnecessary. You are human, and it is natural for doubts and fears to arise, especially when you are stretching beyond your current experience. The key is not to eliminate these thoughts entirely, but to not dwell on them, to not give them power. When a doubting thought arises, simply acknowledge it, and then gently return your attention to your desired state. Think of it like this. Your mind is like a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. You cannot prevent birds from flying over your garden, but you can prevent them from nesting there. In the same way, you cannot prevent every negative thought from crossing your mind. But you can choose not to nurture these thoughts, not to water them with your attention and emotional energy. Instead, Focus on planting and nurturing the seeds of your desired reality. Water them with your attention, fertilize them with your emotion, tend to them with your consistent assumption of the state of wish fulfilled. As you do this, these seeds will grow strong, eventually crowding out the weeds of doubt and disbelief. Remember, my friends, belief is not a one-time event. It is not something you do once and then sit back and wait for results. Belief, true belief that makes all things possible, is a practice. It is something you cultivate daily, hourly, moment by moment. It is a way of life, a constant choosing to align yourself with the reality you desire to experience. As you embark on this journey of conscious creation, of living from the state of your wish fulfilled, you may encounter resistance from those around you. Friends, family, even your own habitual patterns of thought may seem to conspire against your new understanding. This is natural and to be expected. The world around you is accustomed to your old state of consciousness and may initially resist your attempts to shift to a new state. Do not let this deter you. Remember, everyone in your world is you pushed out. Their resistance is simply a reflection of your own doubts and fears. As you stand firm in your new state, as you persist in your assumption of your wish fulfilled, you will find that the world around you has no choice but to conform to your new consciousness. This persistence, this unwavering faith in the face of apparent contradiction, is what separates those who truly manifest their desires from those who merely wish and hope. It is the difference between those who live lives of miraculous achievement and those who remain bound by the limitations of their past beliefs. Now, let us address another crucial aspect of this process. Detachment. Many of you, in your eagerness to manifest your desires, may find yourselves obsessing over the when and how of your manifestation. You may find yourself constantly checking for signs, anxiously awaiting the physical proof of your desires' fulfillment. But remember, my dear friends, attachment to outcomes is a form of doubt. It is an implicit statement that you do not truly believe in the reality of your desire. For if you truly believed, if you were living completely from the state of wish fulfilled, you would feel no need to anxiously await its manifestation. You would know with unshakable certainty that it is already yours. This is why I often say, live as though you have it. When you can completely relax into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you can go about your day secure in the knowledge that your desire is already a fait accompli in the realm of infinite possibilities, you open the way for its swift manifestation in your physical reality. Detachment does not mean you don't care about your desire. On the contrary, it means you care so deeply, you believe so completely, that you can rest in the absolute assurance of its fulfillment. It is a state of peaceful expectancy, of calm certainty. It is the feeling of one who knows their good is already theirs and is content to allow it to unfold in divine timing. As you practice living from this state of calm assurance, you will find that your manifestations come about in ways that are often surprising and delightful. The how and when of your desires' fulfillment will often exceed your limited imagination. For remember, the infinite intelligence of the universe has access to possibilities far beyond what your rational mind can conceive. Your job is not to figure out how your desire will manifest. Your job is simply to assume the state of its fulfillment, to live from the end, and to allow the creative power of the universe to bring about its manifestation in the most perfect way. Now, I want to address a question that often arises as people begin to experience success with these principles. They ask Neville, if everything is possible when I believe, does that mean I can manifest anything, no matter how grand or seemingly impossible? And to this I say, yes, absolutely. Remember, my dear friends, the only limits that exist are those you accept in your own mind. The universe is infinite, and you are a divine being with access to all the power of creation. When you truly grasp this, when you fully embody this truth, you will understand that nothing, absolutely nothing, is beyond your ability to manifest. With great power comes great responsibility. As you begin to grasp the true extent of your creative ability, it becomes crucial to examine your desires carefully. Ask yourself, is this desire in alignment with my highest good and the highest good of all? Does it come from a place of love and expansion, or from fear and lack. For you see, my friends, when you understand the power of your consciousness to shape reality, you also understand that you are responsible for everything you create. There is no one else to blame, no external circumstances to point to. You are the author of your life story, the creator of your reality. This realization can be both liberating and sobering. It means that you have the power to create a life beyond your wildest dreams. But it also means that if you are experiencing circumstances you do not desire, you must look within to find the source of these experiences in your own consciousness. As you continue on this journey of conscious creation, of living from the state of your wish fulfilled, you will find that your desires themselves begin to evolve. As you experience the joy of manifesting your initial desires, as you prove to yourself the power of your consciousness, you will naturally begin to desire experiences of greater expansion, of deeper fulfillment, of more profound service to others. This is the natural evolution of consciousness. As you grow in your understanding and application of these principles, you will find yourself desiring not just personal gain, but the upliftment of all humanity. You will begin to see yourself not as a separate individual striving for personal success, but as an integral part of the cosmic whole, using your creative power for the benefit of all. And this, my dear friends, is where the true magic happens. When you align your desires with the highest good of all, when you use your creative power in service of love and expansion, you tap into a power beyond anything you've previously experienced. You become a channel for divine creativity, a vessel through which the infinite intelligence of the universe can express itself in ever more beautiful and harmonious ways. As we near the conclusion of our time together, I want to leave you with this final thought. The power to believe, to assume the state of your wish fulfilled, to live from the end is not just a tool for manifesting material desires. It is, in essence, your birthright as a divine being. It is the means by which you fulfill your highest purpose, express your truest self, and contribute to the ongoing evolution of consciousness. When you truly believe that everything is possible, when you live from the state of infinite potential, you become a beacon of light in the world. Your very presence inspires others to question their own limitations, to reach for their own dreams. Your life becomes a living testament to the creative power of consciousness, a demonstration of what is possible when one dares to believe. So go forth, my dear friends, with this knowledge burning brightly within you. Know that you are not bound by the limitations of your past, by the constraints of your current circumstances, or by the doubts of those around you. You are a divine creator, capable of reshaping your reality in accordance with your deepest desires and highest aspirations. Believe in the power of your consciousness. Trust in the reality of your imagination. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled. For when you do, when you truly embody this state of being, you will find that everything, absolutely everything, is possible. The entire universe conspires to bring your desires into manifestation, often in ways more wonderful than you could have imagined. Remember, the feeling is the secret. Cultivate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Nurture it with your attention. Feed it with your emotion. Protect it from the doubts and fears that may arise. As you do this, as you persist in this state, despite all apparent contradictions, you will watch in as your outer world reshapes itself to match your inner conviction. And as you experience success, as you manifest your desires and reshape your reality, remember to share this knowledge with others, not through preaching or proselytizing, but through living example. Let your life be a testament to the power of belief. Let your achievements inspire others to question their own limitations and reach for their own dreams. For in truth, my dear friends, when you understand and apply these principles, when you live from the state of your wish fulfilled, you become a co-creator with the divine. You step into your true power as a conscious, deliberate creator of your reality. And in doing so, you contribute to the ongoing evolution of consciousness, to the gradual awakening of all humanity to its divine nature and infinite potential. So go now, with this knowledge burning brightly within you. Believe in the power of your consciousness. Trust in the reality of your imagination. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled. For when you do, you will find that truly. When you believe everything is possible, the entire universe is yours to shape, to mold, to create in accordance with your highest vision. Remember, you are the operant power in your world. You are the one who decides what is possible and what is not. Choose wisely, believe fully, and watch as miracles unfold in your life. For you are, in truth, the very power of creation itself, individualized in human form. Embrace this truth, live from this understanding, and step into the magnificent, miraculous life. That is your divine birthright. Go forth and create. My dear friends, the world awaits your conscious command. Everything is possible when you believe. This is the truth that will set you free, the knowledge that will empower you to live the life of your dreams. Embrace it fully, embody it completely, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. For when you believe, truly believe, everything is possible.
Let me begin by sharing a fundamental truth. Everything in your world is you pushed out. Every person, every relationship, every interaction is but a reflection of your own consciousness made manifest. When people suddenly change in your world, they are responding to changes within your own consciousness, whether you are aware of it or not. Now, let me tell you a story from the scripture that beautifully illustrates this principle. In the book of Genesis, we read about Jacob who wrestled with an angel through the night. This is not a historical event, but a psychological drama playing out in consciousness. Jacob wrestled alone, and through this solitary battle, he was transformed. His name was changed to Israel, which means he who rules as God. This story is speaking about you, about your journey of transformation. The wrestling match represents the internal struggle we all face when we must stand alone in our consciousness, when those around us seem to change or depart from our lives. Consider this: every person in your life is playing a role in accordance with your assumptions about them. When these assumptions change, when your consciousness shifts, they must by law change their role in your drama. This is not something to fear, but to understand deeply. I remember a lady who came to me in distress. She said, "Neville, everyone in my life has changed. My friends have become strangers. My family seems distant. What am I to do?" I told her what I tell you now. This is not a tragedy, but an opportunity to discover the greatest discovery of your life, the discovery of your own divinity. You see, when people suddenly change, when relationships transform, it is life itself compelling you to stand alone in your imagination. It is pushing you toward the realization that you are the operant power, the only reality. Everything else is a shadow, a reflection of your own wonderful human imagination. Let me make this clearer with another scriptural reference. In the book of John, Jesus says, "I have overcome the world." What world? The world of external dependencies, the world of seeking fulfillment in others. He recognized that he and the Father, the human imagination, are one. Now, some of you might be thinking, "But Neville, I didn't want these changes. I didn't want people to leave or transform." But I tell you this, your surface desires are not always aligned with the deeper movements of your consciousness. Your inner conversations, your habitual assumptions, these are the true sculptors of your reality. When someone suddenly changes in your experience, look first to your own consciousness. What assumptions have you been harboring? What inner conversations have you been having? For it is these that shape your world, not the other way around. I recall a gentleman who attended my lectures in New York. He was distraught because his business partner of 20 years had suddenly turned against him. But upon examination, we discovered that for months he had been carrying an assumption of betrayal, playing out scenarios of distrust in his imagination. The external change was merely the manifestation of his own inner drama. This brings us to a crucial point. The art of surviving alone is not about isolation, but about self-reliance in consciousness. It's about understanding that you are the author of your experience and everyone else is simply playing their part in your script. Consider the biblical injunction, "Put not your trust in princes." This is not telling you to distrust others, but to place your trust in the one and only reality, your own wonderful human imagination. For when you truly grasp this, you will never be alone. for you cannot be separated from your own consciousness. Now, let me share with you the practical application of this knowledge. When you notice people changing around you, instead of reacting with fear or resistance, do this: stand firmly in the awareness that you are the operant power. Your consciousness is the only reality. Begin to have new inner conversations. Instead of lamenting the changes, say to yourself, I am the creator of my reality. These changes are moving me toward my greater good. For remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Every person is yourself in another costume. I want you to understand something profound. The sudden changes in others are often a signal that you are ready for a greater revelation of your own power. Just as a butterfly must struggle alone to emerge from its chrysalis, you too must sometimes face the apparent solitude that precedes transformation. Let me tell you another story that illustrates this principle. There was a woman who attended my lectures in Los Angeles. She had built her entire life around her social circle, her relationships. When these began to change and dissolve, she fell into despair. But through understanding this law, she discovered something remarkable: her own divine nature. She began to practice what I'm sharing with you tonight. Instead of seeking validation or support from others, she turned within. She began to live from the assumption that she was complete, whole, and divinely supported. And do you know what happened? New relationships emerged, better ones aligned with her new self-concept. This is the law: as within, so without. The changes you see in others are reflecting changes in your own consciousness. Therefore, instead of trying to hold on to people or prevent change, focus on standing firmly in your own wonderful human imagination. Remember the words from Scripture: be still and know that I am God. This stillness is not physical stillness, but a quiet confidence in your own consciousness as the creative power in your world. When you know this, truly know it, you cannot be disturbed by external changes. Now let me address something that many of you might be wondering: what about love? What about connection? I tell you this: true love, true connection comes from the recognition that everyone in your world is you pushed out. When you love yourself, when you trust your own consciousness, you will naturally attract and maintain relationships that reflect this self-love. But here's the crucial point: these relationships will be different. They will no longer be based on dependency or fear, but on the recognition of your own completeness. People may still change, but these changes will no longer threaten your peace of mind. Consider this: in the Bible, Jesus often withdrew to be alone. This was not about physical solitude, but about returning to the consciousness of being the operant power. When you can do this, when you can stand alone in your imagination, you have mastered the art of living. Let me give you a practical exercise. Tonight, when you go to sleep, instead of reviewing the changes and apparent losses in your life, do this: live from the assumption that you are complete, whole, and divinely supported. Feel the truth of it. Fall asleep in this consciousness. For remember, your consciousness is the only reality. The people in your world are playing roles based on your assumptions. When these assumptions change, their roles must change. This is law. I want to share with you another profound truth. The ability to stand alone in your imagination is the greatest power you possess. It is the meaning behind the Scripture: the kingdom of heaven is within you. When you grasp this, when you live from this understanding, external changes lose their power to disturb you. Think about this: everything you see in the world, every person, every relationship, is a shadow cast by your consciousness. When the light of consciousness shifts, the shadows must move. This is not something to fear, but to embrace. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what if I'm not ready to be alone? I tell you this: you are never truly alone. You are one with your own wonderful human imagination. And this is the only reality that matters. The changes you see in others are actually helping you discover this truth. They are pushing you toward the recognition of your own divinity. For remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Let me share one more story that illustrates this principle. A man came to me devastated because his entire social circle had suddenly turned against him. But through applying this law, through standing alone in his imagination, he discovered something remarkable. He found that as his consciousness shifted, As he began to live from the assumption of being divinely supported, new relationships naturally emerged that reflected this new state. This is the law: your outer world must conform to your inner assumptions. When people suddenly change, when relationships transform, it is life itself compelling you to examine and adjust your consciousness. Remember the words of Scripture: I and my Father are one. The Father is your own wonderful human imagination. When you know this, when you live from this understanding, you cannot be shaken by external changes. So tonight, I urge you to embrace these changes. See them as the natural result of your own expanding consciousness. Stand alone in your imagination, knowing that it is the only reality that matters. For when you can do this, when you can truly stand alone in your consciousness, you will discover that you are never truly alone. You are one with the creative power of the universe, your own wonderful human imagination. And from this understanding, this recognition of your own divine nature, you will create relationships and experiences that reflect your highest assumptions about yourself and life. Remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Every person is yourself in another costume. When you grasp this, when you live from this truth, you will have mastered the art of living. So let people change. Let relationships transform. Stand firmly in your own consciousness, knowing that you are the operant power, the only reality that matters. For in this understanding lies true freedom, true peace, and true mastery of life. And so I tell you this profound truth again. When you truly grasp that you are the operant power, that your consciousness is God in action, these sudden changes in people become not just understandable, but necessary for your spiritual evolution. Consider what we read in Ecclesiastes. To everything there is a season. These seasons of change, these moments when people suddenly transform or depart from your life, are divine appointments in consciousness. They are not happening to you. They are happening from you. I recall a striking incident from my own experience in Barbados. A dear friend who had been constant in my life for many years suddenly became a stranger. At first, like many of you might feel, I was bewildered. But then I realized this change was reflecting a shift in my own consciousness. I was being prepared for a greater understanding of the law. You see, when people suddenly change, it is often a signal that you are ready to move into a new state of consciousness. Just as a snake must shed its old skin to grow, you must sometimes let go of old relationships and patterns to embody your new state. Let me share with you another principle: your inner conversations create your tomorrow. When people suddenly change, examine your inner conversations about them. What have you been telling yourself? For remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. I remember a young woman who came to me in New York. She was distraught because everyone in her life seemed to be turning away from her simultaneously. But when we examined her inner conversations, we discovered that for months she had been repeating to herself, "No one understands me. I must do everything alone." Do you see? Her outer world was simply conforming to her inner conversations. This is law, not chance. Now some of you might ask, "But Neville, how do I maintain my stability when everyone around me is changing?" The answer lies in understanding that stability comes not from external circumstances, but from your consciousness of being the operant power. Consider the words of Paul: "I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content." This is not resignation, but the recognition that your consciousness is the only reality. When you stand firm in this understanding, external changes lose their power to disturb you. Let me give you a practical technique for mastering this state of consciousness. Tonight, as you lay in your bed, instead of reviewing the day's events or worrying about changing relationships, do this. Feel the reality of being the consciousness in which all things exist. Feel the truth that you are the awareness in which all changes take place. For remember, consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, every person, every relationship, every circumstance is an effect, not a cause. When you live from this understanding, you become immune to the fear of sudden changes. I want to share with you a profound truth that few understand. The people who suddenly change or leave your life are actually helping you discover your own completeness. They are pushing you toward the recognition that you are sufficient unto yourself because you are one with your own wonderful human imagination. Think about this in the story of the prodigal son. The young man had to lose everything, his relationships, his wealth, his status, before he could discover his true inheritance. This story is about you, about your journey to self-discovery through apparent loss and change. Now, let me address something that many of you might be struggling with, the fear of being alone. This fear comes from not understanding that you can never be alone, because you are one with the creative power of the universe, your own wonderful human imagination. I remember a man who attended my lectures in San Francisco. He had built his entire identity around his social circle and professional relationships. When these began to crumble, he felt as though his world was ending. But through applying this law, through standing alone in his imagination, he discovered something remarkable, his own divine nature. You see, when people suddenly change, they are actually helping you fulfill a deeper pattern in consciousness. They are playing their part in your spiritual awakening, whether they know it or not. Consider the biblical story of Joseph. His brothers suddenly turned against him, sold him into slavery. But this apparent betrayal was actually the means by which he discovered his true power and fulfilled his divine destiny. Your story is no different. When people change, when relationships transform, it is life itself compelling you to stand in your own divinity. It is pushing you toward the recognition that you are the author of your experience, not a victim of circumstances. Remember these words, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This transformation often requires the dissolution of old patterns, old relationships, old ways of being. When people suddenly change, they are reflecting this inner transformation. Let me give you another practical application of this law. Instead of resisting these changes, instead of trying to hold on to people who are clearly moving in a different direction, do this. Stand firmly in the consciousness of being the operant power. Know that you are the awareness in which all things exist. For remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Every person who suddenly changes is reflecting a change in your own consciousness, whether you are aware of it or not. I want you to grasp something profound. These sudden changes in relationships are actually opportunities for the greatest discovery of your life, the discovery of your own divine nature. When you understand this, when you live from this truth, you become invincible to external changes. Consider the words of Scripture, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. This is not about blind faith in an external God, but about absolute confidence in your own wonderful human imagination, regardless of external circumstances. Remember, you are not a victim of these changes. You are the creator of your reality, and everyone in your world is playing their part in your divine drama. When you grasp this, when you live from this understanding, you become master of your destiny.